feel today? Ask yourself this question.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We made it! We made it! We made it! We made it! And don't do that! And don't do that!
When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it.
It's gonna be football now! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's hunt now! Let's hunt now! Let's go! Let's hunt! We made it! And don't do that! And don't do that!
We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yap. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin strap. It's embarrassing. Yap. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them. He's a man. They can be hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! We made it! And don't do that! And don't do that! It's a wrap. Game over.
You already know. We're just getting started right here on the lunch break. Powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. If you got a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. They're changing the way you watch TV. All right, y'all already know I'm hyped up, and I needed Ray this afternoon. Wasn't feeling well, a little bit under the weather, but I had to make sure the show goes on because I got a former NFL player who balled out at Missouri, was a first-round draft pick, and man, he went to play for from them Cowboys, and you know, we got so many of these Cowboy fans to be following them. If y'all don't remember this, brother, what's wrong with you? It is none other than Howard Richards. Howard, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
So watching a hype video, I think I'm ready.
Man, I'm going to tell you, that one gets me going, man. That one gets me going. Now, Howard, can you hear me? Because now we have that audio problem that you were talking about earlier. Can you hear me?
I can hear you in a little trouble. I can, maybe I can AirPods off and just go right.
Okay. All right. Let's see if we can do that and see if that helps. All right. We don't have you. It's got you muted, man. We got to make sure this one works because I want them to hear from this man right here. Still no sound. Howard, do me a favor. If you can.
How about now?
Yeah, got you. Loud and clear.
Okay.
All right. So, Howard, man, first of all, thank you for making the time to come in, man. And again, we appreciate you. I know you got plenty of things that you're doing. You just finished your own podcast. Tell us about that and tell us how you got into that side of the business.
Well, the podcast that I do, Huddle Up with Howard, is kind of powered by Claibs Online. Michael Claiborne is a good friend of mine from 40 plus years ago. We go back to high school. He used to cover high school sports and a myriad of other sports when he worked for the St. Louis American, which I believe was United States of America's oldest black newspaper.
Oh, wow.
It's a weekly newspaper. It comes out on Thursday. It's a free newspaper. And you can get it online as well, the stlouisamerican.com, I think it is. But Mike is also, he got into the broadcast industry and later it became one of the St. Louis baseball Cardinals broadcasters. So you can hear him during Cardinals baseball broadcasts. And, being local here in St. Louis, it's a very tight community in the broadcast world. And especially for we African American broadcasters. We all are very close friends and stick close together, and wanted to do some projects together. So that's really how it all started. And I've got some fraternity brothers. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
Wait, what?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, wait, what? Are you serious?
Wow.
I love it.
This is why this works.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Erica, great job. Great job.
Erica, no doubt. Mike and Cliff Franklin, who started an advertising marketing company in St. Louis called Fuse Advertising. They've done a lot of work with the Obama administration when President Obama, before he was elected in 2008. And they've continued to build a network. GFN TV is a platform that it can be reached. It reaches about 20 million people throughout the world. We are eventually going to shift Huddle Up with Howard and Claves Online over to GFN TV. And so our reach will be much, much greater. On GFN TV, they have programming that they cover a myriad of things, but there's nothing sports related.
Got you.
I just happened to be one of the lucky ones. They knew about it, but actually saw it. And these are the Franklins are guys that I grew up with, played baseball with their older brothers, Glenn and Quentin. But we're all, close knit, and it just works. And I'm happy for the opportunity to be able to just talk about something that I like to talk about. And, sometimes we dabble into other things, really no politics. But we get off into other things outside of just football. And it makes it's entertaining because, you've got time and you can expand on your thoughts and opinions. And I think that's what makes it interesting for people to tune in.
Howard Richards joining us here on the lunch break, our Throwback Thursday. And we're talking about him. And so from St. Louis, played multiple sports at St. Louis, but some kind of way you matriculated on the football side. Talk about that.
Started off playing baseball almost exclusively. That was a sport that I wanted to play professionally. Wasn't that great of a hitter. I did pitch and wanted to be a first baseman. Those are positions that I played at primarily. Then started playing basketball, but football just became the sport in which I excelled. I knew it better. I had an uncle that played for the St. Louis football Cardinals, now the Arizona Cardinals, of course.
Right.
And he was really the inspiration. And I had other cousins that played in high school before me, also in the public high league, which had put a lot of guys into the college football ranks and on to the NFL. But those were people that, had played big roles in my life. And I wanted to further the things that I had learned from them and give it a shot. And I had a high school coach that believed in me and came to me one day and said, you've got a chance to play major college football. He goes, but you've got work to do. You need to strengthen your body. So you got to get in the room. We didn't have a weight room in our high school at all. I think my senior year, someone somehow shipped a universal machine and put it in a closet somewhere. I mean, I couldn't even find anything at first. So I found this gym near my high school and started going there in the summers and put on a bunch of weight. And by the time that my senior graduation from high school occurred in June of 1977, and the time that I reported for camp in mid-August of 1977, I put on 25 pounds.
Wow.
From eating, all natural, no steroids. I've never ever consumed steroids, but just eating well, lots of protein. And it worked for me. And then continuing to stay in the weight room, get stronger. But being a multi-sport athlete, I think, is what helped me. Footwork first and foremost, especially playing basketball. That was one of the things that I was known for was really having good footwork, and enabled me to play multiple positions across the offensive line. Even professionally, I played every position for the Cowboys except center.
Wow. Okay.
At various times, mostly guard, but I could play both tackles also. Drafted as a tackle, but played mostly guard. And you know, it's a situation where, you know, I thought I could stay. And one of the problems with being versatile is that you don't have the luxury of staying in one position.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a need.
Yeah.
You know, they call on the jack of all trades to go out, go play right tackle, go play left guard, go play left tackle. So in some ways, my career sacrificed because I couldn't develop in one position. But listen, it's a team game, and as long as I'm helping the team, then that's really all that mattered. So I was able to eke out 6 years with Dallas, ended up as a free agent the next year with Seattle, played in 3 games and had a second major knee injury after the first one in Dallas in '84. So I kind of made a promise to myself that if I ever had another major injury, that I would call it quits. And that's what happened at Seattle. And just decided after 7 years, my time in the NFL was done. But I was prepared for it.
Okay.
I was ready to get on with my life. And ironically, I didn't get into the broadcast industry as I thought I would have, especially not immediately. A year and a half later, I ended up going to work for the Central Intelligence Agency, aka the CIA.
Yeah, hold on. You just got to drop that and then through the AKA, and you're talking about the CIA. Hold on, man. Slow down. I got to take a break. Let me catch my breath. Let me drink a little bit of my water. And I'm coming. The CIA? Yeah. We'll be right back with Howard Richards right here on the lunch break. Throwback Thursday, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3. We'll be right back. CIA, just like that. Just CIA.
Just like that.
We'll be right back right after this on the lunch break.
Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be hurt.
Nicole.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King podcast. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central.
When the man said that Sharifa Barksdale is on the verge, she's getting ready to set the world record. And I lost concentration and I fall off that hurdle. I was devastated.
One of our hopes for the Olympic Games, Sharifa Barksdale from Tennessee, a fine intermediate hurdler ranked 10th in the world at 400 meters.
Posición game ball de Canadá, dominando la prueba, y la estadounidense Sharifa Barksdale está en.
When I fell over that hurdle, it ended my career. And then all of a sudden, my coach grabs me by the throat. And I was going through some paperwork and seeing that he had spent 10 years in prison. And I was just like floored. It turned to domestic violence. I was terrified. So if I left, I don't know if I was going to die. My family didn't know if they was going to get a phone call to say that Sharifa was dead.
Yeah, I'm trying pretty. I just had a vehicle take a shot at me. Southbound on East 95th.
Broke the U.S. record in the 400-meter hurdles. Represented the United States of America.
Imagine being on the biggest, fastest roller coaster that you have ever been on. That's the way my life was for 20 years.
I never had no trouble out of her being what she wanted to be. Because if this is what she wanted to be a runner, well, God bless her, and he did.
Yeah, man, that one's coming out. We are in the presentation phase right now. In fact, got a meeting today, 2:00. Y'all be praying, trying to get that one picked up. The life and story of Dr. Sharifa Barksdale. It's called The Last Hurdle. And imagine you are leading the pack. You're about to set a world's record and then you trip over the last hurdle. That in itself is bad enough, but then your coach pulls you aside and tries to choke you to death. Yeah, man, y'all got to see that story. It's compelling. Again, the last hurdle, JM&E, proud to be a part of that project. All right, got to get back to this amazing man. He was a first-round draft choice by the Dallas Cowboys. He was second-team All-American at Mizzou. He was all Big 8 conference back then. It's Big 12 now, But, no, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Mizzou is over in the
No, you're right. Well, it's the Big 12 is the Big 12
right.
After the Big 8 expanded, but Mizzou is now in the Southeastern Conference.
I'm ready for them to make some noise in the Southeastern Conference as well.
We made some noise in years 2 and 3, 2013 and 14, and we've had some struggles since then. But they're trying to get back to that point now. When you're challenging for the SEC East.
Yeah, one of my godsons plays for Mizzou, defensive lineman Josh Landry.
Oh, yes.
Josh just broke his hand, man. He underwent surgery, so
he was playing so well up until the point, and it was funny that I saw his mom, tweeted something the other day, and I responded to the tweet by saying, "Yeah, he's playing really well up until that point." But he's been a contributor this year, and I want to see him continue to, because he's a big part of the resurgent defense that Mizzou has this season.
Absolutely. Look, I got to say something to my brother by another mother, Todd Malcolm. He's a Texas fan and grad and alumni. He talking about y'all better start dropping bags. Don't just go ahead and get him if you want to get him. Don't worry about him if you don't.
It's all good, Todd. We will see when Texas joins the SEC.
That part right there. Man, before the break, you said, I didn't get into broadcasting like I thought I would. In fact, I spent a little time with the CIA, as in Secret Intelligence Agency. How does a 6'5" offensive lineman from the NFL who starred at Mizzou end up in the CIA? The CIA.
Well, that's why the CIA is so good at what it does, because you have an image of something, and it's not. There's so much smoke and mirrors behind all that. You just never know. And listen, I attended a presentation on Tuesday night in St. Louis. In fact, former CIA Director John Brennan, who was the chief of staff for George Tenet. When George Tenet was CIA director, John Brennan did a presentation here in St. Louis as part of Maryville University's speaker circuit. And he made reference to the point, and it's something that I have spoken about also, that as you travel throughout the world, and you visit other countries and you have experience with the governments of other places, and you realize once you get back to U.S. soil that this is the greatest country ever because of the work that our military does, but our intelligence services connected, through CIA and the military and all the other organizations that do such a fantastic job. And people work tirelessly and they never get credit for it, but because of the work that those people do. And I was a part of that also. This country is as free and safe as it is, and we have to continue in that role. So I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to serve for 13 years. I did some amazing things. I've met some amazing people, presidents, heads of state, but just work with incredible, talented people at the agency. And forever grateful for that. And, there's still many friendships that I maintain as a result of my experience there.
Man, first of all, we say to our military servers, people, thank you for your service. Let me start by saying thank you for your service, because you're serving in a whole nother way that many of us can't even imagine, but thank you. Seriously, thank you for your service.
Thanks. Thank you, AJ.
And again, such a broad and diverse background coming from St. Louis, again, multiple sports, playing at Mizzou, having success there, playing in the NFL, having success there. major injury, and then you find yourself working for the CIA. Now you're doing other things. Talk about, when did you just realize, like, wow, man, this tall, lanky kid from St. Louis has kind of done some things in my life.
So I'll address that point. And when I talk to young men and women, I tell them, listen, you look at what I've been able to do, and I'm proud of what I've been able to do. But I had help along the way. I had, family first and foremost. I had great mentors, people that led me and taught me the things that I needed to know. So when you're at a crossroads between making a good decision and a bad decision, choosing the right path was easy for me because I knew the consequences of going the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't how I was built. So I'm very thankful to have those people in my life at that time that, made it easy for me to choose. And I had a number of opportunities, but I had those opportunities because, school was important to me.
Okay.
Important to go to class and to learn and to seek out opportunities and to seek mentors and to ask questions. So I tell the young kids, little urban kids today, I said, I started out just like you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have the same opportunities that I had if you work for them. And that's what I did. I applied myself. And even though I sort of stumbled into it, working for the agency, I was prepared for it because of my educational background. They were very high on people with liberal arts degrees, which I had a degree in broadcast communications from the University of Missouri. But within all that, you get a taste of so many different things, from a foreign language to mathematics to social sciences and everything. So you have a taste of what it's like. And then being an athlete, they like the discipline aspect of it. So they knew that I was going to be a hard worker and be consistent. They knew all that about me. They did their background investigation on me and my life. And they had a pretty good characterization of who I was. And so I guess you could say I made it easy for them. But again, I had help along the way.
Gotcha.
And that's why the things that I do beyond work, beyond being Mizzou's football analyst, is giving back to the community, continuing to, contribute time and talent to youth and youth groups, talking to young people, because I think it takes, you never know what you may say to a young boy or girl that may impact them positively and be that driving force to make them successful. That encouragement is so very important. And that's, for me, if you can only touch one and one becomes successful, then it was worth it.
Absolutely.
So that's how I approach life, in some of my free time, is spending time with youth and talking to youth groups.
We got Howard Richards joining us here on Throwback Thursday here on the lunch break. Came out of school in St. Louis, went to Mizzou, got drafted first round, Dallas Cowboys, had a nice career there, ended his career with the Seattle Seahawks, and has done a lot of stuff, including working for the CIA since then. Let's go back to your high school recruitment. Why Mizzou out of all the colleges that probably wanted you to come and play for them?
Interesting, because even though I followed Mizzou as a high school student, I didn't really think that I would attend school there. Sunday mornings, I used to watch Notre Dame highlights. They would edit the previous day's game down to about 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Parsegian was the coach.
Yep.
And it was ironic for me because, my high school, the colors were really the same colors as the Fighting Irish wore, kind of a cross between the Fighting Irish and the Green Bay Packers. But we ran the same defense. So I was, I could almost imagine myself playing for Notre Dame. And I watched probably more Notre Dame football than I did Mizzou football. Although I listened to Mizzou games on radio.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a parallel pathway, even though Notre Dame kind of led the way. But here's the deal: Notre Dame never offered me a scholarship.
Wow.
So when I was being recruited by most of the teams, throughout the Midwest, Big 8 and Big 10, there were a couple of schools that I, thought about attending. Minnesota was one. Colorado was another. But I waited to put Mizzou at the bottom of my list. Actually, it was second to last. Kansas was going to be my last visit, but Mizzou was my fifth. And after the Mizzou visit, after seeing all the other schools, I was convinced that Mizzou was the place for me. Because there were, many students and student athletes that were from the St. Louis area.
Okay.
Guys and girls that I knew growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But the type of program, especially the offense that Mizzou ran, even though I was primarily a defensive player, I knew that I would probably be switched to offense because that's what they talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt that it was going to be the place for me, more of a balanced attack, both run and pass. And if you're going to get to the NFL, you've got to be good at pass blocking. So of all the other schools that I attended, Mizzou probably threw the ball the most. So I figured for me, this is going to be the best opportunity for me to develop my skill set. And especially if I'm interested in playing professionally. 4 years later, it worked out for me.
Yeah.
It was the best choice. And so I'm pretty proud. And listen, there's something to be said about going to school in your own state, your home state.
Mm-hmm.
After being away from St. Louis for the better part of 30 years, I was in Dallas 10 years. And then the next 19 to 20 years in the Washington, D.C. area with a 2.5 year stint in Tel Aviv, Israel.
Wow.
Where I lived and where my daughter was raised. To come back, I was amazed. At how many people still remembered me.
Wow.
From back in high school.
Uh-huh.
And, there were a number of opportunities, and that's why I was able to go to work at Harris Stowe. The president at the time, Dr. Henry Givens, the late Dr. Henry Givens, had known my father, had gone to Lincoln University with him. So he was went to the same church. He knew about my background and my career and offered me a position as director of security when the person that he had in place just wasn't working out for him. So that's how I got that opportunity. And
wow.
For 4 years, I ran the public safety office there until my alma mater came calling and offered me a position working for the Dean of Arts and Science at the time, Michael Bryan, who happened to be a Cowboys fan. But when I met him, initially, I was on the protective detail for one of our DDCIs, our Deputy Director of Central Intelligence, John Gordon, who's also passed away. But John Gordon came back and won a faculty alumni award. And that's when I met O'Brien, and that relationship sort of flourished from that point forward. And, I ended up joining his, when I went to work for the college, joining his strategic development board. And ultimately, he brought me on as an employee and did some great things while working remotely in St. Louis. And then Mizzou Athletics, after O'Brien left to become the provost at Texas A&M San Antonio,
mm-hmm.
Mizzou Athletics hired me, and I was there until 2020, August of 2020, when the pandemic sort of, forced a lot of institutions, a lot of corporations to slash employment for a lot of people, and I was one of those casualties. But since then, I landed at a healthcare organization called Centene.
Okay.
Doing business development, and that's been going very well. And listen, I have no regrets. It seems that when one door closes, the next one opens much wider. So
I can tell that about you. There's some people that say that, and you're like, "You sure?" But I can feel in your spirit, man, that you're at peace, that you have very few, if any, regrets. That however this journey has led, you followed it, and you've made the most out of every opportunity where you were.
No, that's true. And I talk about those opportunities, but really those opportunities, I think, were able to come to fruition because of relationships that you build. And I've encouraged my daughter and stay on her about building relationships. She's an AKA. I said, build those relationships with your senior AKAs, because you just never know when there's an opportunity for you, and you can, because of who you know, and you've had a chance to nurture that relationship. Chances are it will work out for you because you put in the time, to ask questions, to become friendly. And the other thing is not to burn bridges.
Right.
You just never know when that person that you may be at odds with, but you figure out a way to get along with them. And it's just something that I learned early on. And you don't compare yourself to others, because there's always going to be people later, greater and lesser than you are. That was a lesson by my mother's oldest brother, and I think I heard him say that when I was 9 or 10 years old, and never forgot it. I still can hear him saying it in my ear. That has something that has rung true with me for a long, long time.
Yeah, we got Howard Richards joining us here on our Throwback Thursday. First round draft pick by the Dallas Cowboys, and had a good career there, and has done some amazing things since then. Let me ask you. We got a lot of attention on HBCUs right now. I'm an HBCU fan, repping Texas Southern today.
You're Michael Strahan.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, they got their homecoming this week. I'm a Tulane University grad, but hey, my daughter's at Southern. My family went to Southern. I've got HBCU family all through my family. Did they recruit you when you were coming out of high school in St. Louis?
No, not at all. In fact, if you saw Deion Sanders on 60 Minutes 2 Sundays ago, the interviewer, I can't remember his name, but he asked Deion the same thing, was if he was recruited by an HBCU, and he said no. So and not to say that I would have gone to an HBCU, but I think the recruiting efforts were just so different then, and I say it still remains that way because HBCUs don't have the athletics budgets. I think Jackson State's, just since we're talking about Deion Sanders, I think Jackson State's overall athletics budget is about $8 million, and I think football is probably $4 million of that.
Right,
compared to the Alabamas and the Texas A&Ms, they're in the neighborhood of $150 million, upwards to $200 million in athletics budgets alone. So you can understand how the difference kind of puts you at a significant disadvantage. And if you go back to the piece, and I encourage everyone who's listening who hasn't seen that 60 Minutes segment, go back and look at it, because you look at the facilities that Jackson State had at once, but once Deion got there, he was able to reach out to, I think it was Walmart, and Walmart Corporation was able to invest in a lot at the Jackson State program. Now, there's probably an imbalance between or among the other SWAC schools, if you will, the Southwestern Athletic Conference schools. But maybe what Deion has done is set a precedent, and others can follow suit. So it has. I'm appreciative, to what Coach Prime has done there, because I think it does bring attention to all those young men that probably would not have gotten a look if not for the attention that Jackson State has drawn. And, everyone knows what ESPN Game Day is. Game Day is going to be at is it Jackson State and Southern this week?
Jackson State and Southern this week. Yeah, my daughter will be there. Pray for me, because that's her first road trip. So pray for me, man.
I saw Aeneas Williams was he shouted out Deion because he's a Southern grad, Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of attention, not only because of Deion and Aeneas, but Aeneas lives here in St. Louis also, so I get a chance to see him pretty frequently as part of our NFL retired players chapter.
Oh wow!
But just because of the programs, and now the light is being shined brightly on HBCUs, and I think maybe it's the Rams that have more. I could be wrong. More Pro Football Hall of Famers from HBCUs than they do from typical Power 5 schools or group of 5 schools.
Yeah.
So right there, it tells you that the talent level is there. And, I played with a guy at Dallas who, hopefully will be a Pro Football Hall of Famer soon, Everson Walls, who went undrafted, played at Grambling. And in his first season, we were rookies together in 1981. Even though he didn't start all 16 games, he led the NFL in interceptions with 11.
Yeah.
I believe that's a record that still stands. It's tied by another Dallas Cowboys player, Trayvon Diggs.
Yep. I was going to say Trayvon tried that a couple
of record last year.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you that the talent's there. If you look hard enough, and I tell guys, listen, you play hard enough, people will find you. You get an opportunity if that's what you want to do, but you've got to work and work very hard to get there.
Yeah, going back to your statement about athletic budgets and sports, it just goes to show what Coach Eddie Robinson, the Eddie Robinson did.
Legendary Eddie Robinson.
Legendary. Always going to be the greatest coach of all time in my book. Because of what he did with so much less. I mean, he's out there mowing the field. He's out there lining the field. He's washing jerseys. He's walking campuses, getting kids out of bed, making sure they're going to class, and in some cases in the classrooms with them. So, I mean, it just goes to show how much more some of these great HBCU coaches did with a whole lot less.
And to take that a step further, it's unfortunate, but many young men that end up at HBCUs or products of either one-parent households or no-parent households where they're being raised by either other family members or foster families or adopted families.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the number is, but this does happen. This is real.
Mm-hmm.
So those coaches are more than coaches.
Mm-hmm.
They are true father figures, to a lot of these young men. And most of the guys that matriculate through those programs are better men as a result of that experience playing for the likes of Eddie Robinson and Deion Sanders.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I tell you what, man, I have enjoyed our time because you have been amazing, but I gotta switch from broadcast journalist for a second. The referees almost got in trouble for trying to get an autograph from Mike Evans, and it turned out they were trying to give him golf tips. But you blocked for one of the baddest running backs in the game, one of my all-time favorites. I saw a clip of you leading the way for a young man that did pretty good in his pro career. What was that like? How did you feel being a blocker for one of the greatest of all times?
Talking about Tony Dorsett.
Yes, sir.
Of course. Listen, he made my job a lot easier because sometimes, making the perfect block is not the hardest thing. You're playing against, guys that were here's how I say this, from high school, you're probably, when you go to college, you're probably, among the top 2 or 3 guys on your team. Maybe a third of your team is a good player. You get to college, a half or more, 3/4 of the guys on your team were in the top 3 or maybe the best player in their teams. Get to the NFL, damn near everyone is the best player on their team. So if you're going against guys that are as good as you are, irrespective of the record that their team may have, tremendous athletes, tremendously talented players, right? So, it becomes more of a mental game, but blocking for TD, man, and we would talk about, setting up certain blocks in certain situations, or, I just need like a half a second more, if you can hold that block a little bit longer, man, I can make this work. But it was a dream to block for him because you knew at any time if everyone's executing that he could take it the distance. And nothing more proud to see is to make a block and then see the back of 33's jersey going downfield. That was a beautiful sight. So listen, to be able to block for a Hall of Fame running back and a guy with high character who was a great teammate, a great team leader. It's kind of a shame what he's experiencing, his post-football career. With some of the mental hardships, but I hope he can get the treatment that he deserves and continue to live a long and fruitful life. Much respect for him, being an undersized player, but had a tremendous impact on the game. And listen, I'm just so thankful for that opportunity to be a part of a tremendous organization, first-class organization like the Dallas Cowboys were, especially then.
Yeah.
And not throwing shade on the current Cowboys. But there was, before Tom Landry was let go as head coach, it was a different time. And people really respected the organization, what the Cowboys were able to build. The initial owner, Clint Murchison and Tex Schramm, they built a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Listen, I remember growing up as a St. Louis Cardinals fan and hating the Cowboys, but that all changed when they drafted me on April 28th, 1981. So I went out and got a cowboy hat and cowboy boots. I was all gung-ho Cowboys.
man. So kind of a loaded trick question for you. Were you more like Conrad Dobler or Larry Allen?
Oh, Larry Allen.
Okay, all right.
Talent and technique, as opposed to being a dirty player.
I was going to say, you wasn't giving folks the business under the pile.
No. But sometimes you do what you have to do because you cannot be intimidated on the football field. So you gotta take it sometimes, but you also have to dish it out.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Listen, I appreciate you, Howard. Howard Richards, first-round draft choice by the Dallas Cowboys, had a great career at Missouri. Did a lot of great things, including working with the CIA, and he definitely blessed us here on the lunch break. Tell us about what you got coming up on your podcast and anything you want us to know before we go.
So we recorded today, Huddle Up with Howard. We had Kerry Davis, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, played for both Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin. And Kerry was recounting his days as a Steeler. He's now a head football coach at Hazelwood Central High School in Florissant, Missouri, one of the suburban schools, but he also does morning drive for ESPN Radio.
Oh, wow.
In St. Louis. So just a tremendous young man, very accomplished. He's very proud now because his University of Illinois Fighting Illini are playing very well.
Yeah, they are.
After kind of being a doormat for a while, but listen, they've earned the right to kind of wave the orange and blue flag, and I'm happy for him and happy for his success too. All the guys that are from St. Louis, man, it's a close-knit community. We all pull for each other for the most part, and I'm glad to see him, getting his flowers and getting his glory because he's a fine gentleman. He's a good young man.
Yeah, well, that's great stuff, man. Tell everybody how we can find you and follow you.
Certainly, our Huddle Up with Howard is up on YouTube. It's on Claibs, CLAIBS online.com. You can find it there. You can find it on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, pretty much everywhere you can get your podcasts, audio and video. But then soon to be on the GFN TV network. And maybe when we get that going, I'll have a chance, AJ, to come back and talk to you again about that.
We'll look forward to it. In fact, let's go ahead and count on it. All right.
Absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure.
Brother, you are amazing, man. Again, Erica, great job. Let's stay connected. We're looking forward to having you back.
Yeah. And let's keep in touch.
Will do.
Fantastic.
Howard Richards, have a great rest of your day, man. We'll talk to you again soon.
You too, AJ. Thank you.
All right. That's good stuff right there, man. Brother is amazing. Done some great things on and off the football field. So let me just tell y'all, we got some good folks coming through here on the lunch break. All right, let me take a break. When I come back, I got to give you the standings of this week's Lunch Break Weekly Keeping Up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge. I got to tell you how you can get in so you can win $50 and how you could possibly compete for $500 cash. Well, that'll be coming up next right here on the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. It's our Throwback Thursday. Normally, Chris Gardner of Houston Roundball Review is with me. He was with me yesterday, so we did a little Throwback Thursday on Winning Wednesday. And again, I want to thank my special guest, Mr. Howard Richards, who joined us courtesy of his podcast, and we appreciate him. Huddle Up with Howard, so y'all be sure and check that out. All right, let's get to it. Again, got to say congratulations to Miss Pearl. Miss Pearl, y'all don't be sleeping on Miss Pearl now. Miss Pearl has been consistent in her picks, and she came out on top this week with 11 wins, and she won the tiebreaker over Clarence by 2 points. Man, that one was close. So again, congratulations, Miss Pearl. She's already got her money. Clarence, close, man, but stick in there, because in the current standings right now, in the Lunch Break Weekly, Keeping Up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge, at number 1 is Al High. Al High is leading the pack at number 1. And remember, you want to be in the top 6. At number 2 is Chi-Town. Number 3, after this big weekend, is Miss Pearl. Number 4, Milo, who's been a long-time player with us. Milo is at number 4. Erica with a K is at number 5. And my frat brother, Noop Delano, is at number 6. Just out of the top 6, at number 7 is Amber. Number 8, Emmanuel. Number 9, Todd. Todd, you're only 1 win out of that top 6. Football G is also at number 10. Big Time Floyd at number 11. Keith Hennick at number 12. But all of those, Emmanuel, Todd, Football G, Big Time Floyd, and Keith Hennick, are all 1 win out of the top 6. 2 wins out of the top 6. You got Clarence. 3 wins down, Alexis. 4 wins down, you got Big Mike, Keisha Kelly, T-Bone, Vinny, and Charlotte. So listen, don't give up. You still got a chance to get in and win some good money. Let me see where Coach Cole is. Coach Cole is way down there. Coach Cole, where are you on the standings? Coach Cole, let me see. Coach Cole, you way down there at 36. You way down there at 36. CJ is at 38. Willie Gibson at 42. Y'all got a lot of ground to make up to get back in this thing. King Doc is at 25. Yeah, y'all got a little ground to make up, but it's not over. It is not over. What you want to do is get me all of your picks by today at 6 p.m. Central Time. Pick tonight's game all the way through the Monday night game and get all of the games, because if you don't include a game in your picks, we can't give you credit for it. That's just a no pick. All right? And then for the Monday night game, give me the exact final score for both teams, and you can text those to me at 832-403-5005. That's 832-403-5005. Or you can email them, AJ at AJ@jonesmediaandent.com. AJ@jonesmediaandent.com. Get those to me by 6 p.m. Central, and you are in. You don't have to use point spreads. You don't have to register. You don't have to pay an entrance fee. We don't do any of that. You just get your picks in. If you get more right than everybody else, you get $50, courtesy of the Sports and Wellness Doc. Go to their website, sportsandwellnessdoc.com, sportsandwellnessdoc.com, and the Hartwell Clinic, THE, hartwellclinic.com, and of course, my insurance company, AJ Jones Insurance. So again, y'all get them in. You got a chance to win $50 each and every week, whether this is your first week or you've been in since week one. You got a chance to win $50 each and every week. And if you're in the top 6 at the end of the season, you'll get a chance to compete for $500 cash. Get your picks in by 6 o'clock. All right? All right. Listen, I got to get ready to go. Got a little bit of a sore throat. Not feeling 100, but I had to jump on so I could be with Howard. Brother was great. Wasn't he a great guest? All right, let's get ready to roll. Let me run through my picks real quick, or I'll do them tomorrow. I'll run through my picks tomorrow. All right, but we'll go with tonight's game. Who do I have for tonight's game? Let's see. Bear with me a second. All right, Ravens over the Bucks tonight is what I have. I've got the Ravens beating Tom Brady and Tampa Bay tonight. New England, what's going on with the Patriots? They all but ran Mac Jones out of the arena the other night, of the stadium the other night. Now they're going to start him at quarterback this weekend. What? Huh? And oh, yeah, by the way, the LA Lakers are broken. I don't know if they can be fixed, but they are broken. Rob Pelinka, that's on you. All right, I'm gone. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I truly do love you. There is nothing you can do about it except meet us here tomorrow for Freestyle Friday. Y'all have a blessed rest of your day. We'll talk to you then.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Thursday, October 27, 2022. Happy Friday Eve. Number 1, the clock is ticking to the U.S. midterm election day, November 8th, 2022. But you knew that, didn't you? Candidates made their extended appeals to voters in debates held Tuesday night in the states of Colorado, Michigan, New York, and Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, Republican Mehmet Oz took on Democrat John Fetterman. The Lieutenant Governor Fetterman took to the stage 5 months after suffering from a serious stroke. As he's done in previous interviews, the Lieutenant Governor used a large monitor to read the questions posed by the media due to his auditory processing challenges. When it came to hot-button issues like abortion rights, the Trump-endorsed Dr. Oz never answered the question, dodging support for Senator Lindsey Graham's national abortion ban, but added that the decision was between a woman, her doctor, and local political leaders. Number 2, 1/3 of Americans believe in the Great Replacement theory, according to a new national poll released Wednesday from the University of Massachusetts on several issues facing the United States. The latest poll also found 2/3 of Republicans believe some form of the tenets of that theory, which claims that the U.S. is at risk of losing its national and cultural identity as a result of the growing influx of immigrants. 37% of voters think some elected officials want more immigration to bring in obedient voters who will vote for them, while 33% disagree. Number 3, the Chinese city of Shanghai started administering an inhalable COVID-19 vaccine Wednesday in what appears to be the very first for the world. The vaccine is a mist that is sucked in through the mouth. It's being offered for free as a booster dose for previously vaccinated people, according to an announcement on an official city social media account. Scientists hope that such needle-free vaccines will make vaccination more accessible in countries with fragile health systems because they are easier to administer. Number 4, Torrance, California residents are outraged that a 2017 video showing 17 teenage girls shouting racial epithets has resurfaced and circulated amongst students. According to a South High School student, the video was sent to several on October 24th, including a black classmate, along with hateful messages. In a statement, the Torrance Unified School District said they have addressed the incident with the students and their families, emphasizing that student safety and well-being is their top priority. Number 5. Douglasville police discovered Yaron Yaturi's remains in a 50-foot well where he'd been reported missing since September 28th. Yaron's father, Andrew, said his son had been denied care at a mental health facility hours before he went missing. Staff members at the Ridgeview Institute told the family they had been slammed with patients since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Young adults account for 14% of suicide deaths in America, and it is the third leading cause of death among young people. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. We all have baggage. A good friend will help you carry it. That is true. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central as we discuss today's top headlines and more. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, Black Voters Matter and HBCU Go TV. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SibylWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
When the man said that Sharifa Barksdale is on the verge, she's getting ready to set the world record. And I lost concentration and I followed that hurdle. I was devastated.
Posición game ball de Canadá, dominando la prueba y la estadounidense Sharifa Barksdale está en.
When I fell over that hurdle, it ended my career. And then all of a sudden, my coach grabs me by the throat. And I was going through some paperwork and seeing that he had spent 10 years in prison. And I was just like floored. It turned to domestic violence. I was terrified. So if I left, I don't know if I was going to die. My family didn't know if they was going to get a phone call to say that Sharifa was dead.
Hey, yeah, San Radio, I said a vehicle took a shot at me. Southbound on East 95th.
Broke the U.S. record in the 400-meter hurdles. Represented the United States of America.
Imagine being on the biggest, fastest roller coaster that you have ever been on. That's the way my life was for 20 years.
I never had no trouble out of her being what she wanted to be. Because if this is what she wanted to be a runner, well, God bless her, and he did.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.